A lot of things in marketing change a lot and very quickly, but there are some things that absolutely have not changed, and I don't think they will ever change. So we're going to talk about the foundational principles of marketing to make sure that your efforts are actually worth your while. And I'm going to share with you some of the things that are going to work for you now and in 2025. Buckle up. This is a long one, and it's kind of a doozy. You have gifts to share with the world. You know it, you feel it, it's inside of you. This podcast is going to help you make sure that you don't let your gifts go ungiven. Welcome to the podcast where we believe action is what creates courage and embracing your authentic self is the key to success. I'm your host, Melanie Diane Howe. Join me as I help you break through limiting beliefs and embrace your true personal brand to market yourself. I'm going to help you overcome fears and take action to create more courage, more confidence, more content, and more visibility so that you can make progress toward your dreams. This is starting to sound like a mindset podcast, which it is, but I'll also teach you tips, technology, and techniques to create better content you're not only proud of, but also speaks to your audience. Whether you're an entrepreneur or someone seeking personal growth, tune in for straight up, no nonsense advice that'll help you show up, take action, and become the badass you're meant to be. You belong here. Now let's get to work. Hello, my friend. Welcome back to the show. And if you're new, welcome to the show. It is an early morning here in Indiana. I actually, all transparency, kind of felt the energy to sit down and record this episode before I have even gotten ready for the day. So I am essentially sitting here in my pajamas, very cozy, very comfortable, still sipping on some coffee. And just like I said, really haven't begun my day today yet. But sometimes when you just feel it and you feel the energy and you are in you're lucky enough that maybe you've got the time, just go for it. You can break your process, you can break stride and just follow that energy. And that's what I'm doing this morning. So today I want to talk to you guys and bring forth, it's 2024, it's the end of 2024, but we are getting ready to embark on a new year, 2025. So you might even be listening to this in 2025, which is completely fine because this is definitely going to apply. I wanted to just kind of freshen up how the marketing strategy needs to look today, because obviously marketing is constantly evolving. It's constantly, meaning you are always being presented with new tactics that work. I remember when Instagram was brand new and it was very much used for personal use. And it was just like this place where people shared a lot of pretty pictures of sunsets and places they were at and the dinners they were either making or eating. And it was literally like food, nature, and fitness. I feel like, and that's where it was. And then it evolved into fashion. And then next thing you know, Instagram has become this major hub of marketing. I mean, I see stuff on Instagram all the time that I end up buying. And can tell you that most cases I've been very pleased. And, you have a lot of affiliates out there creating content and helping you, they're advocating for a product or a business or an app that they love. And it's convincing you to try it out yourself. And, that's just one way that app has evolved. But, everything's always going to evolve. We have TikTok now that has just, blown up over the last few years. Some things will come and they will stick. Other things will come and then they will go. If any of you remember Clubhouse, a few years ago, Clubhouse was this audio only kind of social platform. And it was actually a lot of fun and it was pretty cool. It also came about in the midst of the pandemic. And in a weird way, I think that was one of the reasons why it was so hot and so successful so quickly. But then it fizzled out. I mean, it's still there. It's still a thing, but it was really popular. And then it just sort of went away about as fast as it came about. It kind of fizzled out. And there's a lot of reasons for that. I think I'm not going to get into it today, but I'm just pointing out that we are constantly being presented with new methods, new ways, new styles of how we can market ourselves. YouTube is growing, continuing to grow. In fact, you can now publish your podcast on YouTube. So there's communities that you can create on YouTube. You can have online memberships. You can create exclusive content and information on YouTube. And you can absolutely make money on YouTube, which when it all started, you couldn't. And YouTube was sort of just this video platform where people sometimes just used it to host videos that they then wanted to embed on their website. And other people were just publishing, like personal, like just almost like journaling in videos. Those are vlogs. And that was what they were doing. Nothing really overly strategic, they weren't trying to make money. They were just out. It was a creative outlet for people. Other people were using it to publish how-to videos, et cetera, et cetera. And then fast forward to today, and it's this entire like platform for creators, a creator economy to make money, sell. And it's a place for, consumers of the content to hang out and learn and feel like they're a part of something. And that's how that platform has evolved. So I think you get the point. What I'm presenting is that there's always something new to learn. There's always something new to try. But then there's also things that have been around for a long time. But one of the things that even if, no matter what, new stuff, new video types, text over videos or funny videos or pointing at words on screen, whatever, it doesn't matter. There is absolutely a foundational principle that has never changed. So regardless of how you go about marketing yourself or your business, the foundational principle of it has not changed. And so I wanted to kind of like freshen that up today, talk about it, but then also talk to you about some content strategies that I think are very important for you to make sure that you are embracing. And if you're not doing them yet, be doing these in 2025, 100%. Okay, so we'll get to those a little bit later in this episode. But first, let's talk about the foundational principles. And I've talked about this before, which, by the way, things that are extremely important also very much resonate with your audience and if they're popular topics, don't be afraid to revisit those topics. It's okay, because here's the deal. Some of you are new to my podcast. You're not going to go back and listen to all my old episodes. So you might be hearing this from me for the first time. Others of you, my OGs who have been around for a while, maybe even following me on YouTube or whatever, you've probably heard me talk about what I'm about to talk about before, but it's always good to hear it again, a fresh perspective. You're in a different place. You're in a different year. It's a whole new time. So it's always good to hear something more than once because it's going to resonate and it may just sit with you a little bit differently. So that's a little bonus tip for you is don't be afraid to talk about things you've talked about before, especially if they are, core pillars of what you're doing or core principles of the things that you share. All right, so let's get into it. So here's the deal. We're all here essentially to make money. I know that, there's a lot of, mindset information out there that tells you you have to be very passionate about things and it can't just be about the money or you won't stick with it. I believe that 100% is true. But we're doing this in a way, we are trying to make money. Now, there are plenty of people out there that aren't necessarily trying to make money. There's philanthropic things and whatnot. I get that. But at the same time, in order for you to get your philanthropic message out, your big meaning, you are going to need to get people to follow you. You're going to need to get people to listen. You're going to need to get people to share your information. So this process absolutely totally applies to you as well, or you aren't going to have the reach and make the impact that you want to make. So, but most of us are here in some way, shape, or form to make money. We're trying to build a life for ourselves, whether it's financial freedom or because we're trying to just fund our lives and we want to do it through these businesses that we're passionate about or these efforts that we're passionate about. And so in order for somebody to get to a place where they are going to give you money or buy something from you, or even just to make the decision that they're going to follow you and become one of your main fans, they have to trust you. So again, when have you ever bought something that you didn't trust? Now, you maybe sometimes have said, "Oh, I'll give it a try." When the stakes are low, it's not a very expensive purchase, or it's not going to take a lot of your time or whatever. The stakes are low. The trust required is also low. Right? That's okay. And some of you are in that type of world or business where it doesn't require a ton of deep trust, but it still requires trust. So for example, I talked about Instagram, and how it's evolved, in a way. If you're making this low ticket, you've got this low ticket offer in front of you for some, solar light that goes on your patio, because I did just buy one of those recently. So it's a fresh example, and it doesn't cost a lot of money. And you see this video and you see this person talking about and advocating for it. And you're like, wow, that's really pretty. I really want that. And you can now visualize that on your own patio, but it's a real human talking about it. Therefore, you trust this human who is advocating for the product, and you just first cross paths with this person. You don't even know who they are, but yet it's only a $15 purchase, you are more likely to make that purchase versus if it's somebody trying to tell you to buy something that's very expensive or it's a long-term kind of thing. You're like, no, $15, boom, going to get that lamp, going to set it up. And if I hate it, I hate it. I can return it or whatever. I'm out $15. Again, that's a simple process. Doesn't require a ton of trust. However, you have to have a little bit of trust in order to make that purchase, right? Okay, so let's flip it. Let's say that you're going to be enrolling in a mastermind that costs $10,000 to $15,000 a year. On top of that, also, you're required to travel and be in person at some in-person retreat 4 times a year. And that's all, money that you need to spend in order to get there. So plane tickets and other things. So that's a big ticket offer. That's a big purchase. But at the same time, that's a lot of money to spend, but it's also a lot of your personal time that you have to invest in this, mastermind that you're going to be in. And often masterminds like this require an application process. They don't just let anyone in these things because they want to make sure that the group of people in them can mesh together. They're there with similar goals or there with similar paths. They are going to be able to also, bring something to the table as well. So not only do you have to have trust, the person who is selling you or facilitating this mastermind has to have trust in you as well. And so you're not going to enroll in something like this or even consider enrolling in anything like this unless this is a person who you have either learned from in the past. There's like an online course, or maybe you've just been a part of their membership that was a little bit cheaper. Maybe, it's like a $50 a month membership or whatever. Or like I said, you've enrolled in one of their courses and you've been following them. You listen to their podcast, you watch their YouTube videos, whatnot. You have kind of created this like fake friendship or fake relationship with them. You have those people out there where you are literally like, that person is like my spirit animal, or I just wish that I could be friends with that person. And, you're commenting on their live videos and they recognize your name because you're there all the time, or whatnot. You feel like this person, literally. And because you have been consuming their content for so long, to a point where now they're presenting you with this opportunity. And because you trust them, because you've been getting to know them for quite some time, you are considering this opportunity. And you either say, yes, I'm going to go for it, or you decide maybe now's not the time. But you wouldn't even be there in the first place if you didn't feel like you liked them and you knew them enough and you trusted them. So again, this requires a lot more trust and typically a lot more time. So bigger ticket offers or more intimate purchases require more trust and more time. But the most important thing that you have to remember is that it requires trust for someone to give you money or to pay for something, or like I said, to subscribe to your monetized channel in the first place and watch a video or sit through a video. They have to trust that they're going to get value out of this investment that they're making. Again, that investment could be time, but it could also be money. And the whole thing I just want you to walk away with is they've got to trust you. So how do we build that trust? Well, in your content, the way that this works is a person first has to decide, do they even like you? Are you even a good fit for them? Because, your personality is your personality. It's who you are, or your business, or whatever it is. The style of your business is what it is. And some people are going to connect with it, and some people just simply aren't. And I want you to remember this. If they don't connect with you or they don't like you, which sounds really harsh, it's okay. It just means that person who steps out of your path or away from you is making more room for somebody else who is a good fit. And so the more authentic you are, the more real you are in your content, then you're going to make sure that the people that do decide, hey, I like this person, I like this brand, I like this business, then you are getting people connected to you that are the right fit. Both ways. This goes both directions, because you're not going to want to sit there and connect or work with somebody who really doesn't like you for who you are, and you feel this constant friction, or you almost feel like you have to be something you're not in order to please them. That's going to take all of your energy, and it's never going to work. I mean, that applies to business, and that applies to personal relationships in life. And so being authentic and being real, no matter what, is always so important. It's a true factor in this. And that's another foundational principle, is the importance of authenticity. But we're not going to dive deep into authenticity today in this episode. We will, because authenticity is a very big thing I'm very passionate about because I believe so strongly in it and the value of it. But instead, we're going to stay focused on what we're talking about. So again, they've got to like you first. And then after they like you, they're going to stick around and then they're going to get to know you. Okay. So they're going to just keep following you. They're going to go binge listen to your podcast or binge watch your videos, or they're just going to like go stalk your Instagram and just check everything out that's there. And they're just going to kind of like consume you, if you will, right? It's kind of like the process of somebody just hanging out with you for a while and you guys are getting to know each other and they're just really getting to know you. So if you don't have any content out there, right? How will they get to know you? There's nothing there. If you just have a website and you have a post here and there, there's no way for them to get to know you. And so this is why continuing to create regular content, not just posts with text, is critical and key. And we'll talk about some of the types of content that I want you to be focusing on in order to allow people to get to know you later in the episode. We're going to get to that. So stick around for it. We're going to get there. Okay, so they've decided they like you. Now they're getting to know you. And eventually, you're going to be presenting them with some sort of opportunity. And whether that's to subscribe to your email list or it's to buy something from you or whatnot, join your efforts, join you in some membership or whatever it might be, come into your store. It doesn't matter, right? Think about your business. What is the opportunity that they get where there's some sort of like transaction? Okay. And that transaction could just be, a subscription. It could be something they have to pay for. It could be monetized. It could be just them physically making an appointment with you to talk to you. That is the first layer of a transaction. And a lot of you are in a business where there are multiple transactions that then lead to a larger transaction. So it could be a meeting, it could be a one-on-one, an info gathering session. Like I said, when I talked about the mastermind earlier, it could be actually applying for the mastermind, right? There are sometimes steps that require trust to take step one, but there may be a 5-step process to get to the big ticket thing. Some of you are not in that world, and the first transaction is what you do. And that's great too. No problem. Great. I just want you to be thinking about these as steps toward something. It's a journey, and you are wanting them to take steps forward. Now, keep this in mind as well, please. Like I talked about the like factor, not everyone who is getting to know you is going to take that step towards a transaction. And that's also okay. That's also okay because not everybody who's following you right now, maybe it's just not the time for them. Maybe they're not ready for whatever it is that you have to offer, or maybe they just are getting all the value that they need and want or can afford through whatever it is, your free information that you are, the way you're hanging out online with people. Okay. That's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. Not every single person in your world needs to become a customer. That's okay. And you need to be okay with that as well. So just like the whole, they're either going to like you or they're not, no problem. Somebody's either going to say yes or they may say no to your transaction. And you need to be completely fine with that because every person that says no is making more room for the people that are saying yes. So always keep that in mind. Okay, so you've got people that trust you. They are customers. They're either, they're getting what they want or they're repeat customers. They are there, right? You've got your people. There will be people who are super fans. They love your product or your business or your restaurant or whatever it is. They love it so much that they are literally going to go out in the world and tell people about you. They're going to advocate for you. They are literally going to say, go listen to this podcast episode, which, by the way, I love it when people share my podcast. So if you haven't, please do that. You would be one of these people for me. You are an advocate. You are referring new people to this other business. So that's going to happen to you. Your customers, you're going to have really, really, really customers that are super fans that you have delighted so much that they are going to go out and share you with the world. And that's going to bring new people into your process who are then going to go through exactly what we just talked about. That person's going to say, oh, interesting. Okay, cool. My friend really likes this. I'm going to go check it out. And they're going to check you out and they're going to go through this process, which, by the way, those people already have a little bit of trust in you already. Okay, because someone they know that they trust has advocated for you. So that gives you automatic trust. You get points starting out of the gate immediately. Now, they're going to go through the process. They're going to decide, do they like you? Do they not? Are they going to try? They're going to get to know you, and then they're going to decide, do they want to purchase? The people that are referred to you from someone they trust are likely to go through the process I just described much faster because of that starting out trust. There's also a level of connection. So people want to feel a part of something. They want to feel connected. There is a sense of community when someone they like or trust is saying, you need to go do this. It's influence. And so this person is influencing them. And when someone is influenced by someone that they believe in or trust or look up to or whatever, they are just so much more likely to go through the process in a faster way. And one of the other reasons why authenticity matters is because the people who become super fans, they're super fans of who you really are. And if they are likely to love you and refer you, the people that they are connected to are probably people that align with their same values and their same, just what they like, their style, whatnot. So it is even more likely that the people they refer to you are also a good fit. So again, this cycle is constant and continuous. And if you can build a portfolio of information and content and a business that can walk people through these processes, then you can absolutely create this sort of like machine that is bringing new leads to you, bringing new customers to you. But again, it all comes down to your content needs to work them through the process. Now, listen, if you own a store, if you have a storefront or a restaurant or whatever, people are going to physically come into your store. And you are also going to have other ways that you physically and in person in real life can also bring them through this process. But most of you who are listening also are here because you have an online presence or an online business. And so this online information and this content is such a key factor. And so, everything I just described is the customer journey, and the process in the customer journey that builds this like, know, and trust factor is there are 5 phases in it. And they're discovery, which is how people discover you and learn about you. And then it's research. People are going to basically go stalk you. They're going to check your stuff out. They're going to research what it is you do, who you are, blah, blah, blah. And they're going to do that process. And then they're going to have an opportunity, like we talked about. They're going to have a decision to make whether they want to subscribe to your podcast or subscribe to your YouTube channel. Or, hey, do I want to buy this or do I want to invest in this? And then they're going to say yes or no. And if they say yes, they're going to become a customer, right? Or a follower or whatever your transaction looks like. And if they become a super fan and they love you and you delight them so much, they're going to refer you. And that's called the advocacy stage. Oh my gosh. Say that like out loud 3 times, like really fast. I dare you. Do it right now. I dare you. See, I'm human too. And I flub the stuff and I'm not going to edit that out because it's real. It's who I am. But yeah. Okay. There you go. So you have discovery, which is where people decide, do they like you or not? They are going to research you, which is kind of going to help them make that decision. And that's when they're also going to get to know you, right? They're going to get to know you through their research. And then if they trust you, they're going to go through that opportunity phase and become a customer. And if they really trust you and they really love you, they're going to advocate for you. So that's how the like, know, and trust factor and the customer journey kind of go together. And your content can walk them through this process and help them. So now let's talk about some of the core content pieces that I personally believe you need to be making sure that you're doing and continuing to do or start doing in 2025. Because like I said, we're recording this episode at the end of 2024, but this is absolutely applicable to the world today. And that's where we are. We're freshening it all up. So let's go. Okay, so first we're going to talk about video. Video, listen, if you're not embracing some level of video creation, you are missing the mark. It is absolutely where it's at. You can, of course, make an impact with just regular posts with, images and text and quotes and, inspirational, stuff there, then and there. You absolutely can, but this process I just described is going to be much more enriched, much more intimate, much more connected and faster if you can embrace video, because people trust video. They can see your face, they can hear your voice, and it just creates more trust. It has a bigger impact. So video is key. Now there's 3 types of video I want to talk about. There's short form video. So short form video would be like YouTube Shorts or Instagram Reels or TikToks, whatnot. Quick, snippety style, bite-size content. And it's done in the form of video. And so some of these are, comedic, meaning they're like humorous and they just, make people laugh. Others are just to the point, or they could even just be music and you just, on screen, and there's some text that's overlaying over everything, but it's still you in the video, and you're creating a message. But I really, really, really want you to embrace the kinds of videos as well because what I just described are all trends, right? There's a lot of trends out there, and you can follow trends, but remember what a trend is. Just remember what a trend is. Trends come and they go. So you need to still have the anchor of everything, which is you. You're not going to come and go. You are you. And so also be embracing yourself in videos, talking to your audience, explaining stuff, educating, right? And we're not going to get into content strategy today. I've got tons of episodes about that. I'll link to a couple of them in the show notes. But you talking about whatever it is you need to be talking about in these videos, short, snippety style videos. Short form videos are very good for organic reach. So the algorithms like to take the short videos and present them to people who aren't following you yet. And they're going to use your interests and what you interact with online and to present you with these types of videos. And what I mean by you is I actually mean your customers. So, I'm just referencing you because I want you to be visualizing your own personal interaction. Like when you open YouTube and you see YouTube Shorts, or you open up Instagram and you're starting to see all these little reels or whatever, you're seeing stuff from people that you have either never even heard of before, or maybe you've heard of or seen, but you don't actually follow them yet. And so the algorithms are presenting this information to you because of your interest, what you're interacting with. And they're going to do the same thing for your audience. And so short form video is great to bring in new people to discover you and decide, do they like you or not? And they may even get presented with more than one of these short form videos. And so it may take them a few of these in order to decide whether they want to actually take that next step, which is to click on your profile and go check you out and research you. So are you kind of following along here? So short form videos are great for organic reach, right? They're also great to nurture your existing audience, but for the most part, the primary function, in my opinion, is that organic reach, getting new people to discover you. So keep in mind too that these short form videos can be videos that you intentionally create as a short form video. They can also be clips from some of your longer videos. So you can actually take some of the highlights from some other videos you've created, which is the next version I want to talk about, which is a pre-recorded video, which is obviously shorts and short form videos are pre-recorded, but this is more like a longer form video. But you can take clips from those and make them into short form teasers, or just, like I said, highlights. If you're like, wow, that was a really epic thing I just said, go make it into a short form and put it out there. But the next type of content is a longer form video. So a pre-recorded video, these are typically, videos that are, 5 to 20 to 30 minutes even, honestly. So these are videos that maybe you've created an outline for. There's sort of a beginning and a middle and an end. You're going to kind of provide a hook. You're going to educate them. You're going to give them some information. And then you're going to maybe have an ask at the end, or even just a call to action for them to go apply whatever it is you just talked about. So these are typically put on YouTube. You can put them on Facebook, of course. Now, you also have social platforms that are accepting longer videos now, so they can absolutely go on those longer platforms. However, I will tell you, if you're not using YouTube right now, I want you to consider it, because this is a great house for these longer form videos. And you can publish these short form videos and longer form videos in multiple places. So that's completely okay. Even Facebook is still around, and it's still applicable for these types of pieces of content as well. So a longer form video is typically going to be, like I said, something that has a little bit more intention, a little bit more meat on the bones, if you will. And it's typically you educating somebody on something, or you taking them on a journey that gives them a behind the scenes of whatever it is you do. And again, I'm not going to go into content strategy in this one today, but the longer form videos are where you are helping someone really kind of get that understanding, that sampling of what it is to work with you, or what it is to interact with you, or, okay, I now just learned something I didn't know. Now I actually do want to buy that product. And so this is really where you're kind of dancing between them getting to know you stage and them trusting you stage, but also looking at that transaction, right? And it depends on the video and how many videos they've consumed thus far in their own personal process with you. But again, these longer form videos are where you make the conversions, right? So short form, whatever, somebody could just hang out with you all day long and watch your TikToks all day long and never decide or ever even be presented with an opportunity to buy anything from you because they're just being entertained by you. They can like you all day long, but they're not really getting to know you or trusting you because they're just playing around with you. So if you don't have this longer form content, then they're not going to take they're not going to go any further in their journey with you, right? And so the longer form content is where that conversion happens and moves them along closer to the actual transaction. And sometimes it can even be where the transaction is. You could be telling them about a product you love and there's links in your description and they go buy the products because of that video that you just educated them and taught them how to use it. That absolutely is a form of a transaction. So that's why these longer form videos are pretty key as well, because it's kind of like I said, it's the meat on the bones, it's the substance. Okay, moving along. My favorite kind of video, live video. So live video is either you on Instagram Live or YouTube Live or Facebook Live or wherever it is you're live. There's all kinds of places you can go live now. And it is you being you, and it's you having conversation with your audience. Now, the stuff that you put in your longer form videos could absolutely still be the main point of a live video. But the difference between a pre-recorded video that's published as just there it is, or a live video is your audience can be there live with you. So you are actually having a chat with them. And this is where you build trust. This is where trust really comes in. Now, this is also how people get to know you. It's even how people learn if they like you or not, truly. But this is where you build trust. And in my opinion, this is where you build those super fans and the advocates. So you can use your live videos to support your clients or your customers by answering questions, helping them get the most out of whatever it is you do. You can also do live video to just nurture them along and help them mature and grow into that person who is now ready for your product. And so they're going through a journey of their own, and your live videos can be basically supporting them through that. But what I love about live video is they're so raw and so real. You are authentic in them. It's you. You just build so much trust because someone is literally there watching you. They're even watching you make mistakes or stutter over your words, or maybe you even have a little tech hiccup here and there and you get through it. And they're just like, okay, they're human too. So again, it just builds this human factor to your brand. And so if you're not already doing live video, I want you to be thinking about this. I want you to be thinking about this is how you build a relationship with your online audience. And relationships are here to stay. Relationships have been important. It's been an important factor in business, marketing, life forever. And you can build a relationship with these people who you are never going to meet in your whole life ever. But there they are online. They have a profile picture and they have a name and they're interacting with you online. And you can even go as far to bring someone onto your live video and actually interview them on your live video as well, if you want to go that far. But for the most part, most people, you're just going to be interacting with them. You can get to know them, you get to know their business, you get to know what they do. You can even get to know their real names, right? Instead of just their handle. And you're going to build a relationship. And those are the people that are going to advocate for you. And let me tell you something that's really interesting. We talked about that process, right? They're getting to the point where they're becoming a customer, and then super fans are going to become advocates. And I say super fan for a reason. Somebody might be a customer, they can become a super customer or super fan. But there might be somebody who just either can't afford your services, or maybe it's just not the right time in their life or whatever, but they still really enjoy your content. They really enjoy interacting with you online. They still might advocate for you. They still might refer you. Now, they may not be able to say, I've personally used their product or I've personally experienced, their services, but they're still going to advocate for you. They're still going to say, oh my gosh, I absolutely love following this person. I love learning from them, XYZ. And so they don't have to become a customer to become an advocate. And so keep that in mind. And your live videos are one of the most enriched ways that you can build these types of people. And so I love live video. I'm very passionate about it because of the connection and the relationship building value that it brings. So again, live video, here to stay, not going anywhere. It's going to be even more powerful in 2025. I believe it in my heart and in my soul. So short form video, longer pre-recorded videos, and of course, live video. And a lot of times live videos can be done to go talk about the same things that are in your longer form videos. They can even be like, hey, I just, published this video last week and let's do a live Q&A about it. What questions do you have? Blah, blah, blah. Now, those are the video pieces and I love those pieces. But there's two other formats that I want to talk about that have been around for a really long time and are still very powerful. One is podcasts. So again, of course, I love podcasts. I have a podcast. You're listening to it right now. But podcasts have been around for a really long time, and they're here to stay as well. And I am so excited that they are, because here's the thing: all the same strategies I just talked about with your, the short form, pre-recorded, and live videos can also support a podcast, or a podcast can support those efforts. So you can actually use both formats to drive traffic to the other format. And so it kind of just creates this versatility. So whatever you create a pre-recorded video about can also go be a podcast episode as well, and vice versa. For example, I plan to make a video breaking this entire thing down just like I am in this podcast. There are people that follow me on YouTube that are never going to come listen to my podcast. And there are some of you that are listening to my podcast that just really aren't interested in video format. You prefer to consume information here. And so I'm able to expand my reach by basically being in both platforms. And so again, social media, YouTube, Instagram, all the things, but podcasts are just very unique and different. And people can consume podcasts through their, devices in their home. I mean, they're on, the applications are everywhere. It used to literally be, you could only hear a podcast if you had a certain type of app or a certain type of device. You can pretty much listen to podcasts everywhere now. And so they're they have a very wide reach, and they're very accessible. They're free. And people just also are going to, your information is going to resonate a little differently, in my opinion, when somebody is listening to you, because they tend to be less distracted when they're listening to a podcast. They're on a walk, they're in the shower, they're, on a plane, they're in the car, driving, on a road trip, whatever. And it's just one of those things that people tend to consume it differently versus being distracted by, what you look like on camera, or what you're wearing, or what your background looks like, or fancy editing tactics or whatnot. It's just a more intimate way for somebody to soak and consume the information. So sometimes it resonates better. Some people are going to listen to you and watch you. So they might be like, oh yeah, I listened to that podcast. And then they're going to go watch a video about the same thing, and it just hits differently. And so you can actually have a deeper impact if you look at both of these platforms as well. So I really love podcasts because they have great reach and they are very accessible for people. And it's just the way some people prefer to learn and listen. But the process is all the same. It's just a way for them to get to know you, build that trust. Now, another format that has been out there and is still valid is blogging, blog articles. So if you have a website, if you are focused on SEO and you're able to, do that, blog articles are very effective. They are still extremely effective for organic reach, people to discover you if you do it right and you do it strategically and effectively, a blog article can absolutely still get you really good organic reach. So bringing in new people learning about you. The other thing that is great about blog articles is they can be a support mechanism for all the things we just talked about, your video strategy as well as your podcast strategy. So for example, you can go publish a video, but then you can take that video and you can write a blog article that essentially summarizes the video. And you can even embed the video in your blog article and put it on your website. And so somebody might discover that content through the website, but then they're going to go over to your YouTube channel and watch your video. And sometimes people just prefer to read other than watch or listen. So there's that as well. And so blogging is great. It's very effective. It just is one of those things where if you're going to do it, don't just sort of like half-ass it. Do it and do it right. Either hire somebody to help you with the SEO piece and the keywords and just doing it strategically so that you can get your, bang for your efforts. That's what I recommend. I personally am not a blog expert. It's not my major, my sauce, if you will, but it's absolutely still effective. And I know so many people that are getting major results from their website and their blog. Plus, your blog is on your website, which is the main hub, which is typically where your actual purchase transactions are actually going to happen. So they're there in that space where they can actually make the purchase. So keep that in mind as well. Oh my gosh, we are at already at 40 minutes in here almost. So I'm definitely going to wrap this up because I'm not a huge fan of long episodes, but I hope you took notes because this was kind of like a little masterclass. In fact, this is absolutely a presentation I have given many, many, many times, paid. So here you are getting that free information. But here's the deal. It wouldn't be me if I didn't share a couple of resources and tools with you to help you with some of this stuff. So there's a few apps out there that I want to make sure that you know about if you don't already, that will help support this process for you. So we talked about short form videos. And I talked about how sometimes you can take clips from your longer videos and convert them into the short form videos. By the way, if you have a podcast, you can do the same with a clip from a podcast episode. You can actually take the audio, put it into a video with some, graphics or whatever, and that's a short form video that someone just basically watches or listens to, and it's the same thing. So keep that in mind. So one of the apps is Opus Clip. OPUS, and it is a great app that will it uses AI to kind of try to help find some of the highlights in your videos. It's a good start. I don't always have tons of success with it, picking the perfect clip, but it is a great tool that will shorten that process for you to help you find those highlights you can then convert to short form videos or teasers for your longer videos. Another app that I want to talk to you about is CapCut, CapCut. I love CapCut. And so CapCut, there's a free version and then there is a pro version. And you can use this on your phone or on your computer. The free version's good. It's good. It's going to help you do some things. But if you are ready to go all in on some of the longer videos and you want to be able to edit them and do some really cool things with your videos, the pro version is absolutely worth every penny, in my opinion. I understand the editing process, but I hate using video editing software. Even some of the really popular free ones out there, I hate them. I have hated video editing for that reason, but I finally used CapCut Pro to edit some videos recently, and I loved it. I enjoyed the process. It was intuitive. I loved it. It just made the whole entire video editing, I just made it fun, I guess. And it made me feel empowered. Like I can create videos that I'm proud of. And so CapCut's great, but CapCut's also really great for short form. It's going to help you put that text overlay, that's going to transcribe what you say, put the text overlay on there, which is pretty critical for short form, in my opinion. And it's easy to edit what it's transcribing. So if it makes a mistake, you can easily edit that. So CapCut, check out CapCut. It's a great tool. I love it. And then the last thing I want to talk about is ChatGPT. So when I talked a little bit earlier about, first of all, ChatGPT is a great tool for you to explore ideas for your content, asking it to help you come up with ideas. It's even great for you recorded something and you need it to come up with a title and a description. You can do that. The other thing that it's really great for is repurposing. So if you have, an article or a podcast episode or a video you did, you could actually take that and transcribe it and put it into ChatGPT, and it can summarize it for you. You can say, can you please write a blog post that is about this episode? And it will literally write the blog post for you. Now, keep in mind, I do not believe that ChatGPT or really any AI tools should be used to replace you. I think they are an assistant. So I do think that you should and need to go in and edit what it writes or suggests. And so that could just be you reading it, and being like, doesn't really sound like me, and just using it as a way. I am not a great copywriter, but if somebody gives me a starting point, I can go in and edit all day long. In fact, that's how I like to work. But coming up with originating something is a little bit difficult for me when it comes to writing copy. But ChatGPT helps me get that starting point, and then I can go in and I can edit it and make it sound the way I want. In fact, I used ChatGPT to help me write my sort of description, my intro to the Creating Courage podcast when I decided I wanted to shift this podcast a little bit. And I just typed in a bunch of stuff. I put in all the ideas I had for the future episodes, and it wrote something for me. And then I said, well, here's my old bio. Can you take this into consideration? And then it kind of edited it. And then we went back and forth, we, meaning me and this robot. And then I just took the final thing and I just edited it myself. And I just made it what I wanted. And it was such a cool process. So check out ChatGPT. It's very powerful. I know you've probably by now heard of it. There's a free version. There's also paid versions out there that give you a little bit more capability, but the free version is absolutely fantastic. So like I said, Opus Clip, CapCut, and ChatGPT were 3 apps that I wanted to share with you that are going to support this process for you creating these core elements of content to bring people through that journey. So again, what I talked about today, we talked about how the foundational principles of marketing hasn't really changed. And that is that in order for people to become a customer or buy from you, they've got to trust you. And so they're going to have to go through this process of determining whether they like you, they got to get to know you, and then they're going to decide they're going to be either trust you or just sort of still hang out and want to get to know you. And that is the like, know, and trust factor. And your content can help them go through those phases. And the phases that support that is they got to discover you, they need to be able to research you, and they need to get to know you through that. And then they are going to be presented with some sort of opportunity through this journey that they're going to decide to take steps towards. And they may become a customer and they may not. And then some people are going to love you so much that they're going to advocate for you. And that's that advocacy. Advocacy. It's really difficult to say for me for some reason. Referrals, they're referrals, right? And that's what we talked about. And then I just wanted to make sure that you knew that in 2025, you need to be focusing on short form video, some longer videos, some live video, heck yes. And then also consider a podcast. And then your blog articles on your website can absolutely support all this content that you're creating as well. And so, man, in a nutshell, that was a quick summary for what we talked about. This was a longer episode. It was kind of like a masterclass. If you made it this far, thank you. Appreciate you very much. But yeah, so hopefully you are now able to think about your strategy for 2025 or revitalize your strategy if you're already in 2025, or it doesn't matter what year you're in or whatever. I guarantee these principles are not going to change. It's just the tactics and the styles, because the culture of content and social media is always going to evolve. But the core foundational principles of like, know, and trust are not going to change. So go build some trust out there and do some great things. Go be awesome.